Today, I'm going to be talking about oil in scooters, both the engine oil and the transmission oil. And yes, you have to change both. But I'm more interested in the questions of whether you can use regular oil or if you need special motorcycle, ATV, scooter oil for either case. And if you need to actually measure out the oil for the transmission or if the fill bolt hole is the fill level. So let's check it out. This is the Afterwork Garage. You may have seen this scooter in some of my other videos, but today we're going to be changing out the transmission oil, which sits back here, and oils the gear case, the reduction gears from the centrifugal clutch back to the back drive wheel, as well as the motor oil, which sits in here and is the oil for the engine. If you're wondering what I'm talking about with special motorcycle oil, you can see we have three examples here of special motorcycle oil. This is ATV, UTV oil, and again motorcycle oil here. And the difference between that and say just a regular full synthetic, other than this is 10W30, which is actually what my scooter needs, is that these regular oils for regular engines don't take into account the fact that most motorcycles and ATVs, UTVs have a wet clutch. Now this is a clutch that's bathed in oil, meaning that the transmission oil and the motor oil in the case of most motorcycles is the same. So if you just put regular oil like this into a motorcycle or some ATVs, it'll lubricate the engine just fine, but it'll cause the clutch to slip, and so your transmission won't function properly. And these oils are specially formulated to get along better with those wet-bathed clutches. Since the scooter doesn't have a wet clutch and instead has a dry centrifugal clutch and a continuously variable transmission using a belt, the only components in the engine that are being lubricated are the engine components, so we can just use regular oil. Changing the engine oil is really straightforward. If we just come around on the belt cover side of the engine and come down here, we'll see a drain bolt right here. That's a 17mm bolt, and that is our drain bolt. It should be noted that on the other side of the engine and down by the bottom, there is a drain plug right here. This, if you take it out, will drain the oil out, but also has a spring and a filter unit behind it. So really the preferred way is to use the regular drain bolt. And that's probably good enough. We'll go ahead and pop this back in. Obviously oil fills back into here. You don't have to put the oil in this way. I just can't find my funnel right now. Alright, for the gear case it looks like we have the oil fill here and the oil drain down here. So I'm actually going to measure the amount of oil that comes out of here. Supposedly it's 100 mils is what's supposed to go in here. You can see 0.10 liters, and then I looked in the manual and it also says 100 cc's. So I'm going to go ahead and drain this out. I am though going to undo the fill bolt first, not only because it's a good idea to make sure we can fill it back up again, but also because I want to see if the oil level at the fill bolt is the fill level for this. So the distance between here and the fill bolt is 0.1 liters. Generally, that's the case, and it looks like those are 10mm bolts. Now, looking in there, I can see that there's oil, but it's not quite to the level of the fill hole. Okay, so I'm going to just try to catch this oil in a container here and see how much comes out. I'm really glad I'm changing this because this oil looks funky. There's some metal shavings, not many. But the main concern I have is there's about half as much in here as there should be. The 100 mil mark is right here, and it's down about 50. So I'm going to go ahead and put 100 mils back in it, and we will go from there. This scooter calls for 85W140, so we have some of that here. And because these are just gears in the back, there's no clutches or anything else to worry about, we can just go ahead and use regular oil, again, for this. I realize I have no way to measure 100 mils, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill it up until it starts running out this hole, and then I'm going to drain it all back out again because I have plenty of it in this bottle, and measure, see how much comes back out again. I'm going to treat this like a boat lower unit here, where I'm going to install a hose into the drain bolt, and we're just going to pump it in until it starts running out the top. And there we are, we're at the level, so it's just starting to drip out. Okay, I don't have another one of these containers. I'm going to have to empty this one out here. So there's still a little clinging to the walls. We're going to call that about empty. And so we're going to be looking for a little over 100. Pull this guy out. All right, it is just about done, and we are at, if you notice, right at 100 mils. So that tells me this fill hole is positioned properly. You don't have to really worry about measuring it. Just fill it up till it runs out there. Kind of makes me feel good that I washed out whatever was in there and that we're going to give it finally the proper amount of fluid. As we get close here, I'm just going to watch in that hole, and there we go. We're right at the level. It's not dripping out yet, but I can see it right there. Snug them both up. And that's it. That's our change right there. Hey, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time on the After Work Garage.